Tonight on the Black Channel. Forget a mighty stream. This is what happens when justice falls like a sledgehammer. The Black Channel is live. Unapologetic, unadulterated, and absolutely uncompromising. Greetings, brothers and sisters from around the world, and welcome back to the home, the haven, the stronghold, and the everlasting superfortress of intelligent black thought. We are the Black Media, and this is the Black Channel. And I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the voice of Black America, the Black Authority, broadcasting to you live from the only historically black college university of higher education and learning in the cosmos. You are, of course, welcome to join us. And join us you shall, because on tonight's program, you know what a difference a week or two can make, and you notice there are certain things you are not hearing. Certain things you are not hearing. Your usual white supremacist suspects have been deadly, deadly quiet. All of the Rittenhouse rats have been curiously quiet the entire time. And let's be very, very clear here. The sentence that was handed down was a whole lot harder than people thought it was going to be. It was harder than they thought it was going to be. I mean, you thought they were going to get the treatment that the cops get, 10, maybe 20 years, Not now. They've set a whole new precedent now, haven't they? This is a whole new precedent that's happened. Remember what I was telling you all before, that every defeat fuels the next defeat, and every victory fuels the next victory. Remember, I told you that. And the victories, when you start piling them up, they'll get consecutively bigger. And now you got a situation here where they have now set the precedent that a lynch mob, that a modern day lynch mob will receive life without parole. And even your buddy who was sitting there recording it, that he can go ahead and get a life sentence while he's at it. This sets a new high watermark in this situation about harming black people. Now, it still doesn't get us where we need to be. And it's still only one case. And 3 scumbags down, tens of thousands more to go. Absolutely. But let us not be deceived. In the state of Georgia, not California, not some Midwestern state or whatever, the state of Georgia. The state of Georgia is where this came down. And it sets a new high watermark for punishing white supremacists. It sets a new high watermark and makes it very clear they have to think twice about whether or not they will be pushed through the system. Remember what I told you after Zimmerman, they reduced the killing of black people to a paperwork process. Your paperwork just came back bad. The paperwork just came back bad. So now they don't know what to do. Usually they brag a little bit. I mean, this is not a win at all. This is an L. This is an absolute L. Two of these folk here are too old to make it through a life sentence. They're too damn old to be doing that. So effectively, they've been given a death sentence here. You just sit in this little room till we come find your ass dead, basically, is what we're going to do. And keep your ass here till we find you dead. And that's basically all. You're not going to make it that long. And therein lies the point. The idea that killing black people should be easy, that killing black people should be inconsequential, the idea that killing black people should be present, the idea that if you can put up a GoFundMe and the white supremacists throw some money in the till, then everything will be okay after that. No, this throws everything into disarray. This throws everything into disarray, and that's exactly where it needs to be. This throws everything to question, throws everything to chaos. They were certain that this was going to look at least like what happens to the police. Okay, well, they might get an Amber Geiger sentence, give them 10 years. Maybe Michael Chavin, give them 20 years. Oh, no. Even though there was some chicanery going on there to try to make it lighter on them and whatnot, when you came back with a sentence like this, oh boy. Didn't just give them the max, it gave them life without parole. That's not throwing the book at them, that's throwing a sledgehammer at them. For those of you who understand how the judicial system works, this is one of those sentences you don't want to get. Because what it means is that essentially there's not going to be any appeal. You're not really going to be able to revoke out of this. If the judge feels like he can throw a life sentence with no parole, what he's saying is that he doesn't see how the appellate court is going to kick this back. So if he throws that one, he feels confident that even upon appeal, that it's not going to get kicked back. That's the kind of confidence that it tells you that they have in this situation here. That just go ahead here. Forget throwing the book at you. Here, hold this bookcase. Hold this whole bookcase. Put this on top of your head. Yeah, just lay on the ground. Put this on top of your head, because trust me, you don't worry about seeing daylight anymore. You ain't gonna need it where you're going. And you notice the white supremacists, there's not a bunch of trolling going on now. Not a bunch of trolling, not a bunch of trash talking. The Rittenhouse rats are real quiet. Yeah, this wasn't what they were looking for. They were looking for a high watermark in white supremacy. They were looking for a high watermark that, hey, we can expand it beyond self-defense. We can now expand it to vigilantism. We can now take it to a whole new level. And it didn't go the way they were thinking. It didn't go that way at all. Now, let's discuss why it didn't go that way. It didn't go that way because we were vigilant. People stayed on the case about it. The new black media, we kept the focus on white supremacy. We wasn't trying to hear no forgive. If somebody jumped up with that, they got smacked down quick, fast, and in a hurry. You stay consistent. You stay persistent. You keep it at the front of the headlines. You keep it at the front, on the front burner. Didn't bring in the reverends, didn't bring in the deacons, didn't bring in any of that. When they even attempted to mention them, we said, oh, no, we're not trying to have none of that. This was totally different from what you've seen in the past. And a lot of folks would be like, well, it was organized. Well, yeah, it really was. But because we've cut our teeth on this and we've gotten accustomed to how we deal with these situations when that happens. And understand something, it didn't take a whole lot. It didn't even take a whole lot. It really just took the family just getting quiet and staying quiet. As long as they got quiet and then stayed quiet, things worked. Things worked. Wasn't a situation where you had some reverends come in here and try to tell everybody to calm down now, forgive. No, we ain't listening to that nigga. No. And you didn't see anybody trying to tell the young people to be compromising about it either. And didn't have a bunch of folk up here talking about black and brown. Did you understand that? You didn't have a bunch of folk talking about black and brown. Now there's a big one for you right there. So that we can stay focused on the real issue. Didn't hear a whole bunch of talk about black and brown and minorities. You heard people talking about lynch mobs. You heard them talking about hunting down black men. You heard about To Kill a Mockingbird. You heard about white supremacy. All the things that kept it squarely focused on what the issue is. There were no two ways about it. It was a little hard, but we made sure that we stayed on code and stayed on message. The message wasn't allowed to be diluted. They tried a few times, but it really didn't work. The message wasn't allowed to be diluted, which is something that you've witnessed happen in the past. The message wasn't allowed to be diluted. There are many of you who asked whether or not we made any progress. And I submit to you tonight that things like this are your bellwethers, your mile markers that show you that progress has been made. Because let's be very, very clear. If this had happened in 2013, 2014, maybe even 2015, the outcome could have been and would have been a repeat of Zimmerman. But because people got outraged, because people took to the streets, because people got bailed out, because people put up billboards, because this has been part of an ongoing campaign, that we didn't just get outraged about Mike Brown and then we all went back to playing Xbox. Black folk have gotten up, gotten motivated, gotten organized, and continued to do so in a consistent, persistent way. That's the difference. That is the difference this time between previous events. This generation didn't sit up here and say, forgive, and can we have an interracial party or something, and then everybody go home. Folks have stayed out there in the streets about it and stayed persistent. And that's how you change things. That is how you change things. Now, don't be deceived now. Do not be deceived. Because we're far from done in that regard, because we ain't got all the rats yet. Oh, no. We ain't got all the rats yet. We haven't gotten all the rats yet. If Mike Nifong could go to prison and be disbarred for falsely accusing 3 white men of attacking a black woman, then in a case here where somebody is dead, oh yeah, she needs to do for real time. She needs to do for real time. When you've basically been acting as the devil's advocate at the DA's office. Understand something, people. That is a fundamental betrayal of the people in the community in a situation like that, because you pay taxes, and in lieu of, taking matters into your own hands, the law doesn't allow you to get your own attorney to prosecute somebody for murder. So you basically are at the mercy of the district attorney to uphold the law on your behalf. And that is really, it works perfectly fine if the district attorney is following the law and upholding the Constitution. Either the Constitution of the United States or the Constitution of the state of Georgia. But it doesn't work when the district attorney has decided that you as a black person do not receive constitutional protection. Now, there's where it becomes a problem. When you have a district attorney who has decided that you are not protected by the Constitution of the United States. Now, that's an issue. You see, black people have to sit up here and walk into courtrooms where you're walking past Confederate flags, you're walking past Confederate generals, you're walking past Confederate lieutenants, you're walking past segregationists and white supremacists, literally etched in stone, engraved in stone. I'm from Shreveport, Louisiana. I spent my entire life driving by the Caddo Parish Courthouse with bus of Confederates and Confederate flags sitting right there. And then if you had to go to court for some reason, you have to walk past those to get in there. Yes, at least you're getting a warning, an advance warning that you'll receive no justice here, but it is a mockery of that as you go to pay your taxes, as you go to pay your bills, as you are attempting to behave as a law-abiding citizen, and yet the courthouse is lawless. If they are not upholding the Constitution, then the courthouse is a place of lawlessness. I want you to understand that. They're telling you to smash and grab and people running out here robbing little old ladies. That's lawless. You know what? A district attorney who does not uphold the Constitution that they are sworn to do so, ignores the Constitution, ignores the rights of black people. That is lawless also. That is a state of anarchy, chaos, and lawlessness. If you all agree here, hit my likes for me. The haters are trying to keep my likes down. Hit my likes for me here. Now, there are many lessons for us to learn in this situation here. There are many lessons for us to learn. And understand something. We are still keeping on the case for everything else that needs to be focused on. But I want us to take a moment here to recognize when white supremacy takes an L. Going into the new year, I want you to understand when white supremacy takes an L, this is a hell of a note to start off 2022 in, and it's a pretty good one. But I don't want us to forget how you got here because it is essential and necessary that we repeat the process. So when you take a look at cases, I'm not going to include Walter Scott because that one was on video. In situations where it wasn't on video, in situations where individuals tried to invoke the I'm white and I say so law, the I'm white and I say so rule, where they're otherwise in long-standing bastions of redneck justice and redneck rule. It's important to take a look at that. First and foremost, we stayed on code about it. So first and foremost, we stayed on code. We did not allow them to divert the energy. We didn't allow them to dilute the discussion. We didn't allow it to turn into something different. We didn't go looking for white allies. That's going to bother some of your A-Duns people, but we didn't go looking for white allies either. Now, there's another thing about it. We didn't go looking for white allies. We didn't go look for white alliances. We didn't go check in with somebody to find out if we can get a multicultural, multi-ethnic coalition together. No talk of a minority coalition. No talk about minority communities, disadvantaged people, people of color, black and brown, underserved communities. There was no talk of that. A couple of folks tried it. Yes, a couple of folks tried it, but that got slapped down real quick. That was not the prevailing narrative. The prevailing narrative was focused like a laser beam on white supremacy, exactly where it's supposed to be. Exactly where it's supposed to be and exactly what it's supposed to be. We didn't allow a bunch of disinformation to get disseminated. Now, that's important too. That is important too. The reason why you have a new black media is so that when the white supremacist media starts doing what they do, which is to attempt to put out disinformation. If you'll remember at the very beginning, they didn't want to press any charges at all. Remember? The police were trying not to press any charges. If you'll remember. They weren't trying to press any charges. They weren't trying to do anything. Remember, they were trying to say that, oh, he had broken into this property before. I mean, it was under construction, but okay. And remember when they said, actually, there were cameras at the property while it was under construction. Remember, they tried to make it or imply that the cameras were going to show that Ahmaud was doing something illegal. Remember, they simply said there were cameras at the property and then never released the footage. It took them a while to release that. And then finally, when they did, the police and the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, everybody had to admit, yeah, the video simply bears out that nothing happened. Not only did it bear that out, it bared out that there were several other people who did the exact same thing. This is a little rural area. It's a property that was under construction. Some folks would come by there and just look around. Ahmaud wasn't there stealing tools. He wasn't taking anything. They showed white folk coming through there and whatnot. They were just looking around to see it's under construction. And that was it. That was it. So they attempted the character assassination, but because we stayed on it, and especially when you understand the tricks of white supremacy, we all know something. When white supremacy got the goods, they don't sit on it. Now, that's one thing that we have learned and established over the course of our time. This microphone has told you all, if white supremacy's got the goods, they don't sit on it. When they've got the goods, they go ahead and drop it on you. If the body camera footage shows that you were armed, they're going to put that out quick. If the body camera footage shows that you were in the wrong, the police and the sheriff, they're going to be real quick to jump up and say, see, this is why you got to let us kill as many of them as you can. If the body camera footage and the video footage and the evidence actually defends what the white supremacists want to say, they put that out there fast. Remember Jussie Smollett? Remember that? Remember that one? Boy, Jussie figured, well, how much could they possibly tell? He found out, I'll be damned, they had every damn camera in the city on his ass within minutes. I mean, within a couple of days, the cameras basically followed him from one block to the other like an episode of Cheaters. When they've actually got the evidence, and they actually got the goods, they don't sit on it. That's your first clue that something is wrong when they claim, okay, they got the evidence, they got the goods, and nobody's releasing anything. When you got these smash and grab things where they want to sit up here and try to vilify black folk, they put that out quick. They put that out fast. They don't sit on it. They put that out quick, fast, and in a hurry. You get it real damn fast. They let you know, oh, we're not going to go anywhere with this. You don't get to sit up here and spin a narrative. They make sure they smack it down real damn fast. Tucker Carlson will be showing the video. Tucker Carlson will be talking about it. Fox News will have it. They don't play around about it. They don't wait. There is no delay. You don't get to hold off anything. You don't have to file a Freedom of Information request, and you don't have to sue anybody. No, when they've got the evidence and they got the goods, they throw it out there real fast. They don't let you start the narrative against them. They don't allow that when they actually have it. So your first clue that they understand that they're in trouble is when they've got video evidence or other physical evidence and they refuse to release it and they refuse to say anything. That's your first clue. They're trying to figure out, is there a way or a manner in which we can spin this? Is there some way or manner in which we can spin this? But otherwise, yeah, we're not really sure what to do here because this doesn't actually communicate what we're trying to say. And from the beginning, when I witnessed what was going on, when I saw what was happening, I'm like, okay, if they actually had the goods, they would have released that. If the video footage actually showed that he was doing something illegal, they wouldn't be sitting on it for 2 and 3 weeks. They wouldn't do that. They would have put that out immediately. They would have made sure real quick that it was out there so that the McMichaels would never even have to question if they were going to jail or not. If the video evidence exonerated the McMichaels and justified what they did, if it gave them anything they could do to assassinate the character or to demonize the victim, they would have done that from the beginning. And understand they were trying. Remember, they went back and dug up. Black folk are sitting up here this day trying to sue people to get body cam footage from arrests. They went and grabbed some old ass video of Ahmaud getting jacked up or tased by police. We got footage we can't get now, and you have to sue about that. And all of a sudden, they were able to get that real quick. Yeah, they start leaking those things out. They start putting that stuff out. They start putting that out. When they want to demonize you, that gets put out quick. But when there's something that blocks that, no, they stop that. Now, you would ask yourself here, well, why in the world would they be so brazen about that? Because they are used to the I'm white and I say so rule. They're used to that. They are used to just saying, look, that nigger hit me, that nigger threatened me, and whatever I want to do after that, that's all there is. They are used to that's why they fight so hard to protect the system of white supremacy, because whiteness doesn't have a privilege without a system. It's not something that you can have or impose or enforce as an individual. You've got to have a system, an entire system, everything from the police to the prosecutors to the schools to the media to the banking system to the businesses to the neighbors. You have to have an entire ecosystem that will uphold it. So you can't just rely on a couple of yahoos out there doing something. You got to have a system that upholds it. So they were relying upon the system backing them up. Hey, I'm white. I say so. Let's roll. That's what they're accustomed to having. That's what they're accustomed to doing. That's the way that they're accustomed to it going down. They are not accustomed to it going some other way. They're not accustomed to it going some other way. So when that didn't occur and when that didn't happen, things went left. So, and understand, the turning point was when they put the video out. When they put the video out, because everybody saw them, they were sitting on it. And the problem is, by sitting on it, you allow people to make their assumptions and expectations. And they were waiting to see which way the narrative was going to go. And the narrative went, why are y'all sitting on it? And once it came out, after that, it was a fait accompli. It all went downhill from there. It all went downhill from there. Now I'm talking about the footage at the footage at the house that was under construction. I'm talking about that. Because they were just so desperate to say he was in there doing something he shouldn't have been doing. They were so desperate to try to prove that he stole something. Remember, they put all their chips on that he was up to no good. And if we can just prove that he was doing something he shouldn't have been doing, then that justified the McMichaels killing him. Never mind if he wasn't doing anything that day. Never mind if he wasn't committing a crime at the time he was running through the neighborhood. Never mind that at all. If we can prove that at any time in the past you've done something, well, that's how we justify it. You see, as black people, you get convicted ex post facto, after the fact. That's how black folk get convicted. Black folk don't get convicted at the time. They get convicted after the fact. They get convicted 2 and 3 times over for something that's happened. Ask Bill Cosby. If you don't believe that's real, ask Bill Cosby. Yeah, double jeopardy doesn't apply here. Ask Bill Cosby. See, they're used to being able to do that. Now that they're seeing it's not going to go as easy as it was, I want you to understand what the real ramifications of this are. White supremacy is taking an L in the courts. They're taking it back to back. That officer out there in Colorado, she just got run down. Shaven, run down. The McMichaels, run down. Man, they're taking back to back to back L's. But you have to understand what that means now. Because you see, in a system of white supremacy, if they cannot rely on the courts to have their back, if they cannot rely on the courts to do their bidding, then they're going to have to take extrajudicial measures. If the court's not going to back them up, then you have to be on the lookout, because now they're going to start looking at resorting to other means. If the courts are not as dependable and reliable as they should be, now they start looking for other stuff. Well, Jason, what do you mean other stuff? Well, we got to start changing some laws around here. We have to start changing some laws. We have to start, because if ignoring them is not working out the way they should, you have to start changing some to make it more viable. So things that weren't illegal got to start being legal now. You understand that? We have to start changing some laws and changing some rules, because some things that were not legal before, you better start making them legal now, so that you can protect your operatives. So that you can protect these irregular forces, so that you can protect your operatives when they're out there. You're going to have to rewrite the playbook. Now, rewriting the playbook is very risky. Rewriting the playbook is very risky, because whatever powers you attempt to subscribe to somebody, you're going to be prescribing those to somebody else. So just understand, this could backfire big time. And in the case of Rittenhouse, I told you, they've mortgaged away the future. You mortgaged away the future so you could save one bum. You'd have been better off letting him go. And maintaining what you had. You'd have been better off letting him go. But they couldn't do that. And the reason they couldn't do that is because there were just too many damn L's piling up. So they just didn't have the option of doing that. There were just too many losses piling up. They needed something to bring back to the troops. You got to keep them motivated. You have got to keep them motivated. And the truth of the matter is, they don't have any good news to bring them. So Rittenhouse was the last piece of good news that they had. The reality is, they didn't have any other good news to bring. They didn't have anything else to offer. They don't have anything else now. They don't have anything else in the pipeline. They've tried everything from hate crimes to smash and grab and this, that, and the other. It's not going well for them. It's not going well. They've taken an L. Unabashed, unadulterated, unapologetic white supremacy has taken an L. This was not the way 2022 was supposed to start out. 2022 was supposed to start out differently here. It's supposed to be a whole different situation. That's not what occurred. I also want black folk to be on notice now. I want you to be on notice and be on guard, because when you ask me, okay, Jason, what's going to happen next? Do you think they're going to all just pile up and go home? Hell no. No, they're not going to do that. What they're going to try to do is try to rework the formula, which is what they always do. They are not going to stop trying to harm black people. They are going to try to rework the formula in such a way that they can codify how to harm black people with impunity. So that's what they're looking for. So it's not that the threat is going to go away. The threat is going to try to figure out how to rework itself. Consolidate into smaller areas, sure. Make it very clear to folks that there may be some no-go zones for white folk now. I want you to understand that. They might need now to let everybody know there's some no-go zones for white people, that white people need to understand, okay, if you are in such and such an area, we can protect you. But if you venture outside of that, then we can't protect you anymore. I want you to think of it in those terms. Now, that would be a new experience for them, a sundown town for white folk, but that would be a new experience. A no-go zone. But this is the way the white supremacists will think. Because what they're looking for is a place in an area where they can conduct white supremacy with impunity. So if they're no longer able to do that, they're going to catalog the places they can't do that anymore. So they're going to catalog places like Dallas. Catalog places like, New Orleans if they can't do that. Catalog places like Georgia. If they're losing their grip on being able to do that, then that gets cataloged. It's like, okay, we can't practice it there. We can't do that there. They're going to catalog the places where the preachers and the clergy don't have any sway. They're going to catalog that. They're going to catalog the places where the young folk ain't buck dancing. They're going to catalog those places. They're going to catalog that, and they're going to keep up with it. Because they want to be clear about where they can practice it and where they can't. They need to be clear with the children about where they can practice it and where they can't. They need to know that. They can't win this thing if they have a bunch of surprises jumping out at them. They can't have a bunch of surprises jumping up. And this was a big ass surprise. So that's why all the Rittenhouse rats are quiet right now. That sound of silence, that's what happens when they've taken a gut punch L. They didn't just take a L, they took a gut punch L. That's what it sounds like when that occurs. But we are far from finished. We are far from finished, and we are far from done. We're just getting started. We are going to take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break. I definitely want you all to stick with us here through tonight's program, because this is going to be important. And I want you to understand that there'll be some folks out there who are going to question whether or not we're making progress. They're going to question whether or not it works. They're going to question those things. I don't want you to get distracted or deterred by it. I don't want that to occur. I don't want you to get distracted or deterred. Because there are a bunch of people who are going to try to sit up here and tell you, well, that pro-black stuff, that always makes me sit there and look at them crazy when they say that. You don't hear anybody talking about that pro-black stuff now either, do you? Remember, it used to be a whole lot more of that. You don't hear anybody talking about that quote pro-black stuff now in that derisive tone. Of course, they'll try to come back later and act like they had something to do with it when they didn't. I just want you to notice all the changes that you heard here. That's white supremacy taking an L. Don't worry, pretty soon they'll be calling this being woke too, by the way. Very soon they'll be telling you that this is what it means to be woke. If you're not going to let white supremacy just run wild, that's called being woke. Yeah, we're wide awake. So be it. I want to thank everyone who has contributed to support tonight's program here on PayPal or Cash App. Thank you very much for your support to my man Mark B. Chadwick, thank you very much. Andrew L., we appreciate that. Najee, as always. And a big shout out to my man, Mr. Rich Berg. I thank you all for your support here on PayPal or Cash App. We're going to take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break. When we come back, this and more. This is The Black Channel.
If you're tired of being censored on social media, join 60s.net. It's black owned, black operated, and black moderated. And we make sure it stays a safe space for us to talk about all things black culture. We also got some cool gear like the FDM cotton crew neck, the Fearless Ancestors tee, hats, and more. Check us out at 60s.net. Hey girl, why are you so sad?
I just got banned from Twitter again.
Should have been on 60s.net. Ah.
The white supremacists use division as a weapon, dividing our families, our wealth, rewarding traitors, murdering heroes. Yet we survived. We fought for our reparations. Now it's our turn to divide and administer God's power. I am Agent Nuria Sellers, a foundational Black American. I promise that nothing will come between us. Buy the sci-fi novel, Nothing Will Come Between Us. Available January 22nd. Pre-order online today at Amazon and Google Play. Spirit of1811publishing.com. Our story, our family.
Hi, this is Brenda Starr, creator of Poetry with a Purpose and author of the book Pressed But Not Crushed. Pressed But Not Crushed is an anthology of political poems that address current and historical issues in American descendants of slave population and African American population. The book describes slaveries and its residuals, Jim Crow segregation, social depredation, and other relevant issues to American descendants of slaves and African Americans, including the current political climate that does not address our issues.
The future of legal betting is finally here. Place a bet using CashApp with Bitcoin right over the phone. Unlike with traditional gambling sites, every bet you place with us, you're guaranteed a 50% probability of winning. All of our bets are one-on-one against a real person and never the house. We offer some of the most unique bets in the industry. Bets like, will LeBron James win his 5th NBA title? Will Joe Biden be elected for a second term? Will Tesla be worth $1 trillion by the end of 2022? Text the phrase I bet to the number on the screen, and I'll reply with a list of all our available bets.
Are you tired of being overcharged and forced into paying a monthly subscription for your Mac and Windows software? Well, if you are, currently we're having a 50% off discount on all the latest Mac and Windows software, such as AutoCAD, SolidWorks, Photoshop, Microsoft Office, and much more. Our 50% off discount will be ending soon, so be sure to text us Need Software to 323-407-8214. That's 323-407-8214. We aim to please, so expect 24/7 technical support, the latest premium software, instant software links delivered to your email, and PayPal's buyer's protection guarantee.
This is The Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. Very glad to be with you all here this evening. And as we are discussing white supremacy takes an L, by all means, it is not nearly even to be implied that we are at the end of anything, but definitely the attitude has changed, and our job is to make sure their attitudes keep changing. And every time that shows up, we show them that we are not the civil rights generation. That our mission is not integration, our mission is empowerment and the complete dismantling and destruction of the system of white supremacy. And its major hammer that it uses is its court system, and we are definitely making sure that people understand what the value of black life is, and that we stay on message about that. I'm going to go ahead and open up the telephone lines. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. And definitely I want you to go ahead and give us a call for that. We're going to go ahead and see about taking a few phone calls for that here. As we're talking about, and understand the conversation was a whole lot different before now. It was a whole lot different before now, if you'll remember. Back then, folks were talking about it totally differently, remember? Then you had Obama in office and the clergy was out there and they were telling you the most that you could do is march and pray, and we said something different. We said something totally different. And a whole bunch of folks used to mock us and ridicule us and things. And remember, because we were focused on what the police were doing and we were focused on whether or not black folks were being harmed. And there were a bunch of Negroes out there, let's just be totally honest, they had just resigned themselves to their fate. They had just resigned themselves to their fate. They were just perfectly content to sit up here and get killed and hope they can run back and forth from the liquor store home or whatever like roaches and just hope that nothing too bad happens to them, man. We did something totally different. We showed them that things could be and would be totally different. And the conversation today is different. Is it everything we wish it was? No, it is not. But it is radically different from where it was. It is radically different from where it was. Nobody's talking now like they were before. Nobody is. Not in any place. You know why? Because we, just as quickly as they sent Zimmerman out there to put black people on notice, we mobilized to put them on notice. Anybody, anywhere can get it at any time. White supremacy does not have the wealth of safe spaces that it used to have. They understand that anybody, anywhere can get it at any time. And that the court system is no longer the reliable apparatus that it was to codify white supremacy. That doesn't mean that it does not do that. The Rittenhouse trial showed you that. But they do not. It is not as reliable as it once was. And when you do something like the Rittenhouse case, where you jump out there and you just have to be so blatant and so sloppy that you have to sit up here and throw it out there in front of the world, just understand that type of brazen, if you will, blatant white supremacy, that's the kind of thing that undermines you. Remember, white supremacy works because it's not seen. White supremacy works because it is hidden. It doesn't work if you have to show it. Once you can prove it's there, that's when it falls apart. When people are able to point their fingers and say, there it is right there. White supremacy works when there's no actual physical evidence that is there. It doesn't work when there's evidence that it actually exists. That's when it falls apart and when it fails. That's when it takes an L. When you can walk into court and show people a lynch mob. When you can walk into court and show them a prosecutor, a district attorney who is upholding their system. When you can show them the blatant evidence, white supremacy falls. That's when it falls. I want to send an extra big shout out here tonight to my man V Vinny on Cash App and Mandisa. Thank you very much for your support, especially V Vinny. We appreciate that. We're going to go ahead and take a few phone calls here while we're at it. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. Your personal access code to the Blackest Radio program in existence. Let's go ahead and take a couple of calls. Caller from area code 773. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you're calling from?
Oh, this is Alan from Chicago, Jason. How you doing?
Alan from Chicago. What's on your mind?
Oh yeah, let's show a little homage to actor Sidney Poitier. Just a second of silence. But getting back to what you were saying, you are absolutely fucking right. Now, they went in there, the white people went in there, they didn't come out blazing, killing them. When the brother went in there, when the army went in there, they came out blazing, killing that young brother. I got two young black boys, and I'd be damned. I'm going to go Rambo on the motherfucker. They put a hand on my boy. That's all I have to say. Go.
Okay, now, I would like to say a few words about Sidney Poitier as well. There is a reason why I do not avail my platform to RIPs to people. because folks tend to fabricate, or should I say invent a version, especially when you're dealing with these Hollywood people. And I have a personal practice where I don't really speak on dead people immediately after they've died. So that's my own personal practice. I know everybody else doesn't do that. Where Sidney Poitier is concerned, however, I think you all would be very well advised to do a little bit more vetting of his paperwork. I think you'd be very well advised to do that. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. I like lilies of the field as much as anybody else did. But I think you'd be well advised to check that. And I don't want to turn tonight into a broadcast about Sidney Poitier, but I think in time we will have a greater discussion about that. I don't think this is the time to do it now, but I think in time we will have a greater discussion about that. Caller from area code 415. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Don P. calling from San Francisco.
Don from San Francisco. What's on your mind?
Man, we are watching the unraveling of time, Professor Jason. We are watching it come full throw. I was watching my nephew, Big Red, on his channel, and just what we're talking about, man. See, the word said that they would do these things and then they would find themselves not guilty. Well, guess what? The tail is now starting to wag the dog. You seeing things backwards. So this thing is wrapping up, man. These white supremacists, they're getting less than what they deserve, but they're getting what they deserve. And that is to be found guilty as opposed to holding themselves not guilty. Now, I would just love to hear your comments on it because you flow so well.
Well, definitely in this situation now, and I take them one by one. I don't take them as a whole, but I do catalog what happens over time, because once is an incident, twice is a trend, 3 times is a pattern. And when you're able to have a sustained march of this kind of thing going on and on, whereas before, remember, under Mike Brown and Eric Garner, they reduced the killing of... Understand something. If Eric Garner had been strangled to death today, Daniel Pantaleo would be in prison today. Let's be very, very clear. If Eric Garner had been killed today in exactly the same manner that he was then, Daniel Pantaleo would be in prison now. Mike Brown, if Mike Brown had been killed the exact same way, Darren Wilson would be in prison now. And Geronimo Yanez would have a life sentence, at least, for the murder of Philando Castile. That's what would have happened. You take a look at the cop who shot, Dante Wright, and then you take a look at Geronimo Yanez. So things certainly, if you take a look at the exact same circumstances, it would be a whole lot different today. Now, when you let the black clergy be the bootlicks and the puppets of the white supremacist structure, that was what you used to have to put up with. But today, we don't have that problem. We don't have that same dynamic. I can't say we don't have that problem. We don't have the same dynamic. The bottom line is that people don't have the stomach or the tolerance for it that they used to have. And it is a shame that it had to take those situations to occur and happen like this to get people to break their taste for it. But that is how we ended up with it here now. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get a call from area code 843. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Phil from Beaufort, South Carolina.
Phil from Beaufort. What's on your mind?
I want to apologize to you. I wanted to call you because I hadn't called in a while. I wanted to make sure that you knew I was still living and not taken out by some respiratory disease. But I want to apologize. No, not apologize, but kind of come clean with you about something. Now, I wasn't listening to you when this Ahmaud Arbery thing had taken place, and at the time, I felt a little differently about the whole situation when they were showing that video, really because of the sources who were showing us the video. So I'm going to just be, upfront about that. I think you've done a lot of good work as far as that is concerned. And I just want to give you credit for that. And because I was the kind of person, I didn't feel the same way about all those other cases that I felt like with Trayvon Martin.
Well,
That
we
was
certainly
a
need to move
case that
slowly.
I thought was just.
It's important that we move slowly. We should be deliberate in the way in which we do things. We should be slow about that. And I'm sorry your CPAP machine needs to get a tune up there, brother. So definitely work on that. Thank you for giving us a call tonight. We do need to move deliberately, and we need to take it on a case-by-case basis. We don't just jump on something because people have shown up. We need to jump on things because we have a solid foundation. Remember, just like the white supremacists can't afford to take some L's, we can't really afford to take a bunch of L's either. So we have to be discriminating and discerning about what causes we back and who we back and why. Let me get a call from area code 510. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Good evening, Jason. This is Black Voltron calling out Oakland, California.
Black Voltron out of Oakland. What's on your mind?
Well, I think, especially this week, but for the last month, actually the last several months and last year, the system of white supremacy has taken a serious L because I looked at Friday's decision with McMichaels and Roddy Bryant as even a way bigger case than even OJ. I mean, this is actually the system of white supremacy fully punishing white supremacists like they punish us. I mean, this is major, now, especially with the police now getting punished along with the outward and, extremist white supremacists. They're starting to take L after L, loss after loss. And they're beside themselves. They thought they had a win with Kyle Rittenhouse, but now it seems like every single case now is what they call us, the woke mob, is applying the pressure onto the court systems to actually do what the fuck they're supposed to be doing, which is dispense justice, freedom and justice for all here in these United States. And they're pissed because now we're equalizing and leveling the playing field for everybody. Everybody can get it now. And they hate that. They're racialized, socialistic institution of only white people getting fair favor is being chipped away. At first it was just a couple hammers chipping away. Now we got whole wrecking balls knocking the system of white supremacy down. And we got to maintain the pressure though, because, I'm expecting a counterattack.
Well, that's always in the offing.
Goddamn pit.
Well, that's always in the offing. As black folk, that's another thing we have to focus on here is that you got to keep your head on swivel about that. The black folk who sit up here understand something. There are those of us who understand that walking around just on any day, we got to be prepared. We have to be constantly vigilant. The folk who are expecting, because we're the ones doing the work, those of us doing the actual work, we're constantly on alert. We're constantly watching. Those who are out here just lollygagging and skipping around and expecting somebody else to save them, they're the ones who keep getting caught unawares. They're the ones who keep getting caught, without warning. They're the ones who keep getting caught slipping is in that situation. So for us, it's not the same thing because we're always expecting that kind of thing to happen. We always got, like I say, a Dylan Roof couldn't have come around you and me. He couldn't have made it that far. Exactly. So we would, because we're just like, okay, this is way out of turn. This is just way off. So that's why he went to a place where they weren't really looking for that. I just got to be straight up and honest with people. I mean, he went for a place that's not vigilant. Those of us who are vigilant, we looking for the Dylan Roofs. We looking for the Kyle Rittenhouses. We're looking for them. We're actively looking for them. The only folk getting caught unawares are the ones who are not actively looking. I'll let you have the last word.
Yes, indeed, and I'm going to follow up on that. I think I'm going to predict that the new black media is going to grow even further. Other aspects we got to look at is look at the BNC, the Root, and all these old black media sites are crumbling, before our very eyes. This is the day we've been searching for is the new black media is just literally taking control of the yard. I mean, we took control of the narrative before, but now nobody is actively listening to that boule foot shuffling, tap dancing, boss, can we, is we sick, type of mentality that these Roland Martins, look at Joy Reid right now. She's about to lose her program because nobody wants to hear that bullshit. We are effectively and actively taking control of the narrative. And I'm predicting that, there's going to be a lot of congressional black Sambos is going to be out of office come November of this year. I appreciate you taking my call, Jason. Be one to the fullest.
Black Verse, brother, thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 216. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello, Jason. My name is Christine Johnson Howard.
Okay.
I'm from
if you have your phone
Ohio.
on speaker or something, you need to take that phone or speaker or headphones. You want to take that off. You're sounding real hollow. Okay, it sounds like she might have been abducted. See if you can try to take that off a speaker or whatever. You're sounding very, very muddled and hollow, and I'm having difficulty making out what you're saying. Let me get caller from area code 404. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from? Okay, this is a little odd here. Let me check and make sure I didn't get disconnected or something by some bizarre means.
Hello?
Yes, you're on live.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know it unmuted me. Hi, this
Okay.
is Renee calling from Atlanta, Georgia.
Hello, Renee. Sometimes the ladies like to touch themselves when they hear me, so they might not be paying very much attention. I understand.
No, I'm not touching
What's
myself.
on your mind, Renee?
I was just calling in to say that I was very happy with the verdict. I wasn't sure which way it was going to go because the mother, she was like she wanted the fullest extent of the law. And at first the dad, he was kind of like, I don't know, a little cooning a little bit. The God, all that God stuff. But I was very happy about the verdict. And I just wanted to say thank you to the black media because you guys really put pressure on the state of Georgia to give Ahmaud Arbery justice.
Well, thank you very much for giving us a call tonight on that, sister. Please do give
right.
us a call again. She can go hit the bubble bath now. Let me get caller from area code 720. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
What's up, Jason? This is Jesse out of Denver, Colorado.
Jesse out of Denver. What's on your mind?
Man, I'm loving it. White supremacy is taking L's day by day. I'm loving it. I hope we continue this momentum throughout this new year. We got to keep our foot on the necks of these white supremacists. It's a new day on the plantation. And thanks to the new black media for ushering that new day on the plantation. And we're going to continue to stay vigilant and aware of everything that's going on all around us. White supremacy is going to continue to take L's. Shout out to the B1 family. Shout out to the FBA family. We doing the damn thing.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Please do give us a call again. Let me get caller from area code 216. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello, Jason.
Yes, you're on live.
Yes, this is Christine Johnson Howard. I'm actually from Elyria, Ohio, but I hail from Mobile, Alabama when the last slave ship landed. I'm so happy that I was able to connect. I am always B1. And thank you, Jason, for staying on top of so much. But I really thank you for the 7 a.m. movie. Man, that was the documentary. I bought that for 10 people because they need to know that the reason why we don't have any businesses, we don't have any businesses. We just don't have any businesses. And I grew up in Alabama, so I started my own business.
You know what? A very brief
Thank you,
addendum. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. By the way, a very brief addendum. It was 10 years ago that I began the process of putting together 7 a.m. It was 10 years ago. And I was asked if there was something that I wanted to do. And I said, if I could do anything I wanted to do, I would do a documentary about black entrepreneurship. I didn't say black economics. I said a documentary about black entrepreneurship. And I was very concerned because I didn't think anybody would actually care about it, to be totally honest with you. I thought it was a very niche thing, and I just thought it was for just really wonky nerds like me. I knew it was important, but I really just thought it was a very niche thing. So believe it or not, everybody, this 2022 marks 10 years since from the time that I began the process of putting 7 a.m. together. I've been talking about it actually for years before then. I had actually been talking about doing 7 a.m. for about 5 years before I actually ever set out to do it. So while I was out there talking about it, other folk were out there doing documentaries. But thank you very much there. I just want to let everybody know, by the way, a little bit of a mile marker. This year marks 10 years from the time that I began working on 7 a.m. And no, I am not nearly about done yet. I got a lot more I want to say. But go ahead and finish your thoughts.
Thank you, Jason. I said thank you very much. Thank you very much. Because it opened so many people's eyes. And I know that I'm so much older than you, but like I said, I've been fighting racism all my life, and I'm going to fight it until I die. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you very much for giving us a call. Tonight, please do give us a call again. My goal with 7 a.m., and like I say, it was a first-time project. I was learning on the job about it. But it was really to put together something. It wasn't going to be the greatest thing. It wasn't going to be the flashiest thing. It was going to be the best effort that I could do. And it was going to be something that would be easily transportable and easily understood. You could put that in front of a 10-year-old and they will understand what they're looking at and what they're reading, what they're seeing. So long after I'm gone, they'll be seeing 7 a.m. and Gentrified and Race War and anything after that. And this really forms the genesis of a new media movement, one that is not controlled by white corporations, one that is not controlled by white paymasters for the purposes of diluting and muting down the message, one that we can put out in its pure, unadulterated form, and you can't sit up here and censor the ideas that we put into it. So this is a new thing, and I want to thank all of you. I want you all to understand one thing here as we talk about that. I don't want to get too sidetracked, but as we talk about that, I want you all to understand that this is an important thing for me. And I appreciate the help of all of you who've been here all this time, all my day one people, my brother Sam. Thank you to everybody who has been here and been a part of that. It's been important to me. So I want to thank all of you who've been along on this journey. And that really helped to springboard what we're doing, because then we started becoming a force in media. And the techniques that I learned to be able to promote a film, I then took those techniques into other areas. So some of the techniques that I picked up and learned to promote a film, I started using it to sit up here and put the spotlight on white supremacists and made them very uncomfortable. Started putting the spotlight on their Negro bootlicks in office and made them very uncomfortable, and changed the discussion. Because up until then, no one was willing to do it. Once we showed we had the audacity to do it, started changing things. Next thing you know, Amber Geiger's in prison. Next thing you know, Keisha Bottom B is leaving office. Whole lot of things can change. Let me get called from area code 931. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, what's going on, Jason? This is CJ out of El Paso.
CJ out of El Paso. What's on your mind?
First and foremost, I would like to thank you for all that you do as the Real Black Media. But as white supremacy continue to take these L's, let's keep our boots on our necks. Be one. I'm out.
Black first, brother. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 267. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Lee from Philly.
Lee from Philadelphia. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I just wanted to know, how is this a win if Ahmaud wasn't FBI?
Okay. Well, it's about time you stop hiding out there in the chat room and whatnot. What does his non-FBA status have to do with white supremacy?
Well, it seems like the non-FBAs who get killed by police, those policemen actually get, sentenced a hard time.
Okay, brother, you sound like you floating on a fifth of hen right now. You're slurring your words. Can you try that again?
I said it seems like the non-FBAs or the FBAs that get killed by police officers, those police officers that kill them actually get sentenced to, a good amount of time.
Okay, what's your point?
The officer that shot Laquan McDonald got like 5 years. When they shoot at kill FBAs, they barely get any time. Slap on the wrist.
Okay. Usually when they kill black people, they don't get any time at all. Usually.
Well, Laquan got shot 17 times on camera in broad daylight, and he only got 5 years.
Okay.
So you see what I'm going with this, right?
Sir, and in the case of, for example, Amadou Diallo, Abner Louima, how about that?
What, 25 years ago?
Okay, so
talking about now,
okay,
right?
Thank you, sir. So what you've conceded is that you don't know what the hell you're talking about. That's what you just conceded. White supremacy sees all of us as the same. Our job is to keep people on code about that. So, like I say, when you don't have the facts on your side, you start sounding like you do. Maybe now that you have been shown that you don't really know what you're talking about, maybe you'll do the adult thing, regroup, and reconsider how you've been so wrong, and then start coming to new conclusions.
Well, I could come to the conclusion that you're looking for some moral victory.
Instead of you actually doing the adult thing and acknowledging that you were proven wrong, I presented you with undeniable facts, and instead of you accepting that reality...
This is a moral victory, Jason. Come on now.
So instead of him accepting reality, he's just going to keep repeating the same falsehoods and just saying, well, I want this to be true.
I'm just calling it how it is, Jason.
Okay, I just proved it was wrong, and you didn't have anything to say to that. I just proved it was wrong. Just proved it.
By talking about Amadou Diallo.
Okay, I just proved it.
All right. Have a good night, Jason.
I just showed it.
Okay, you proved it.
Okay. I just showed it. So understand something. When you're dealing with emotions as opposed to logic, yeah, that can be a hell of a powerful thing right there. That can be a hell of a powerful thing. Just understand that. Hell of a powerful thing. Caller from area code 954. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Jane calling from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Good evening.
Jane from Fort Lauderdale. What's on your mind?
I just wanted to say basically that I'm very happy that that white supremacy is taking L's, but we also have to stay vigilant and work for empowerment for our W's. So while we're celebrating and kind of enjoying this, we must stay vigilant and not go to sleep on what we actually need to do toward empowerment. And I just wanted to mention that I'd watched one of Professor Black Truth's videos about black people gathering their own intelligence. And we need to be keeping up with what's going on with the white supremacists, what's going on in society, what's going on with everything that pertains to us, so that we can build our own empowerment through information. And I found that to be very enlightening, and I just wanted to put that out there and shout that out. Thank you so much for taking my call.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Please do give us a call again. Let me get caller from area code 518. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yes, Jason. This is Dell from Queens, New York.
Dell from Queens. What's on your mind?
Yes, Jason. The last week there was an officer shot. I was listening to the news, and there's something you told me. It was something you told me. White supremacists, when they got something on you, they always put it out. They always put out receipts. If they got something on you, they always put out the receipts. The news media kept saying that the officer was shot outside of his precinct because he was taking a nap. Now, I don't follow that because it was just hours after Eric Adams was sworn in. And you did tell us about Ichasu, that she was going to bring out that she was going to bring out that broken windows policy. So I think this is a false flag operation just to bring out that policy out.
Well, thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. You're a little bit outside of what we're discussing, but thank you very much here. Let me get caller from area code 850. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Tony from Jacksonville, Florida.
Tony from Jacksonville. What's on your mind?
I was just wondering, I see most of these white supremacists getting convicted in state court. Most of them have a federal charge pending. I was just wondering if they get convicted in federal court, what are the chances of them getting like a pardon? You know, like Trump or whoever.
No, that's not generally. A pardon can be given at any time for anything there. And yes, I want to say Lee Merritt was talking about how the feds were saying that they wanted to bring them up on federal hate crime charges also. So I think the they wanted to give him a plea deal for that, and I think the family was against allowing something like that to occur. So definitely, like I say, but usually you can't really count on the feds, to be totally honest. You can't really count on the feds for anything. They made it very, very clear that they're not going to do anything. They made it very, very clear they're not going to do anything. And we, at this point right now, wouldn't look for them to do anything. Because remember, the crime's being committed at the local level and the state level anyway. But as far as the feds are concerned, no, brother. They've got a benign neglect policy. They've got a laissez-faire policy. I mean, essentially, the great betrayal is ongoing, essentially. They just basically stepped back and told the states, okay, y'all can do these niggas whatever you want to. So after 3 strikes was put in, they basically have told them, okay, we're not going to step in and stop anything, except in the most egregious of cases where it's just blown up so big you can't do anything, like Dylan Roof or something like that. But other than that, no, the feds are not stepping into anything. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 917. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello, good evening, Justin Black.
Yes, you're on live. What is your name? Where are you calling from?
Ann Martin, calling from the Bronx, New York.
Ann from the Bronx, what's on your mind?
I'm calling, now that they win this case, are they going to start focused on the Tatiana Jefferson, the young lady that was shot while she was playing the video game with her nephew, I think maybe 2 fall ago?
Absolutely. You have to keep an eye on all those cases here. What they try to do, though, is they try to string them out. They try to bury them. Here's the real thing right here. The families, and we've been saying this since day one, those of us in the black media, there's only so much we can do. If the families don't stay on it, if the families don't stomp about it, you can't expect us to see. That's what happened in the case of like Stephen Clark, The families were expecting us to come in and swing to the rescue, and they were very active, but only for themselves. So don't mistake, what the key ingredient needs to be. The families of the victims can make this thing go one way or the other. If the families come out and are persistent, because remember in the case of Ahmaud Arbery, they had to be persistent about that. It took months before any action was really taken on it. So if they don't do anything about it, if the families don't stay persistent about it, it doesn't happen. Because inversely, if the families come out talking about forgive, then it doesn't matter what we say. If the families come out talking about forgive, then they just shut us down.
Because I remember her dad passed away like shortly after her killing, and then her mom passed away. I think within a year now, her mom passed away. So I know both of her parents have passed on.
Right. Well, thank you very much for giving us a call. Like I say, definitely we need the families to stand up on these things, because that's the kind of thing that holds up at the local level with the local media and whatnot. Just understand something. The local media in these areas, the national media, isn't going to call me for an interview about Ahmaud Arbery. They're going to want to talk to his mom, his dad, his brothers, his sisters. He's going to want to talk to the immediate family. They're not going to contact us for that. They'll talk to the family, might talk to the attorneys, but they're going to want to talk to the families. They're going to want to talk to the families. And if that's not there, then just understand we're not going to be able to be a substitute for that. Let me get caller from area code 816. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Me calling from Kansas City, Kansas.
Okay, what was that name again?
Mila Me.
All right, Mila from Kansas, what's on your mind?
Yes, sir. So, I was kind of thinking, I've been contemplating this, with the exception of like Dylan Roof. I've been kind of paying attention to the ages of the people that are getting convicted right now. And at the age of Kyle Rittenhouse, I'm very interested in what they're going to do about Ethan Crumbley. So I guess my question is, does age play a factor in these convictions? Because Kyle Rittenhouse has the next 40 to 60 years right now to wreak havoc upon the earth.
Does age play a factor in it? Absolutely. Age absolutely does play a factor in it. Because they understand the value of junior white supremacists, they understand the value of giving them long legs. So yes, the short answer to your question is absolutely. Even the judges say so. When you take a look at these cases of affluenza, these white boys out here, I mean, killing people in DUIs, sexually assaulting women. The judges have said consistently, when they let them off, well, they consistently said, well, take a look at his age. Take a look at his age. Now, for black males, that's actually a negative. Being a young black male makes you a super predator. But for young white men in this system here, that's actually protection for them. So the short answer to your question is absolutely yes. Absolutely, yes, it does. And you are right to be able to detect that pattern. So if they can use their age as a defense, that's one thing. In the case of the McMichaels, you can't use their age as a defense. You can't say they don't know any better. You can't say they're young and naive. You can't say any of that. You know, there's no plausible, rational excuse you can come up with to be able to say they didn't know or whatever, or they were just being young and reckless in that regard. Because white folks believe in that. Understand, white supremacy believes in attacking your children of non-white people. White supremacy believes in targeting your children. I've been saying this now for over a decade. White supremacy believes in targeting the children. It believes in going after soft targets and specifically going after your kids. They will go after your children quick. That's the point. So once you realize that's what they do, Absolutely. Then just understand when they go into court and whatnot, yeah, it's going to be a two-tier system. So for these old cats, just understand. The other thing is you have to have some martyrs. I mean, that's just the bottom line. We said that before. You know, if like Michael Dunn down there in Florida, you know, who killed Jordan Russell Davis. You know, if you're too blatant with it and you're at a certain age, yeah, we gotta run you through. We gotta run you through. So yes, you're absolutely right. Age does play a factor in this. Good catch on that. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get a call from area code 202. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, this is Ray from DC.
Ray from DC. What's on your mind?
Hey, man, didn't that black militia go down there and bring all this shit to the forefront, man? That black militia went down there, right down there in that neighborhood, and brought all this. And why is everybody downplaying on that? And what's going on with that black militia and that guy? They still got him locked up right now. I mean,
Call from area code 520. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from? Okay, they are literally in the shower while they're calling me. Ladies, yes, I know. I definitely try to take care of my baritone, is what I've had for a while. I appreciate that. Some of y'all need to calm the hell down, okay? Have some restraint. Caller from area code 202. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi. Hi, my name is Kira.
Hello, Kira.
Hi,
where are you calling from?
I am actually calling from Arizona now, but I'm by the way in New York. So
Okay,
definitely.
Kira from where at in Arizona?
I'm in Tucson, Arizona right now.
Kira
Thank
from
you.
Tucson, Arizona.
yeah.
What's on your mind?
Well, I want to get back to something you just mentioned, and follow it up with with talking about our youth right here. You specifically just said that the white supremacist mentality likes to go after our children. And I couldn't agree more with you. I am an educator for many, many years. And I'm so glad that our youth were able to see justice, some form of justice, because we have to remember that our children, now they marched, but they saw, because a lot of them were home. The pandemic was going on, and it was trial after trial, and it was ordeal after ordeal. But the one thing that got me about this case was that he was literally being curious, right? He was looking at a structure in a building, right? And we are builders. We come from greatness. And that's something that you would just say, oh, look at the marvels. He's taking a moment looking, and he's not living now. And that should never happen again. So I'm just hoping that our families take this time to engage our youth about the persistence that we still have to have in this country. And I thank you for saying what you said, because they are still going after our children.
Well, definitely that's going to be a prime area there, because black folk need to stop trying to, especially black parents, need to stop trying to outsource educating their children, teaching them about being in the system of white supremacy. And this idea that you'll just park them in front of the Black Channel and we'll take care of the rest. No, we can be a supplement, but we're not here to be a substitute. You know, they need to have their mothers and their fathers teaching them about where they live so that they can identify it, because white supremacy has the same goal everywhere it is, but it isn't executed the same everywhere. That's the difference. You know, the Confederate flag was something in the southern United States. You didn't have an equivalent to that in New York, New Jersey, Bensonhurst, Michigan. And yet white supremacy was just as prevalent and just as active there. You know, so it can execute itself in different ways, and it's up to the parents to be able to say, okay, what these folk up here in Tucson are going to tell you is that as long as you don't see a Confederate flag and somebody's not calling you nigger, there's no racism here. Let me show you exactly what it looks like where we are. And then the Black Channel, you know, serves as a supplement to that. But it's not our job to sit up here and try to do the heavy lifting while the parents sit up here and tell the kids, okay, go fight for your marijuana rights. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Please do give us a call again. Whole lot to cover in this regard here. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up here. I've been telling you for a while, like I say, this is not the beginning of the end. This isn't even the end of the beginning. This is just the beginning of the beginning. Whole lot more to come here. We've been vigilant about this. We have been steadfast about this. We have been persistent about this. We will continue to be so and continue to do so, because that's what we need to do. So I want all of you to stay tuned for that, because this is just the first leg of turning this thing around. When I said to you the national conversation, the national discussion was changing, I meant that. And all of you know, if Philando Castile had to be a do-over right now, things would be radically different in the state of Minnesota. The same state that murdered Philando Castile on video with impunity, that wouldn't have happened today. It could that the result wouldn't have been the same today. And in a whole bunch of other places, the result is not the same. Every victory fuels the next victory, but for white supremacy now, every defeat is fueling the next defeat. Next up, death penalty. If you are new here to the Black Channel, welcome to the Haven of Intelligent Black Thought. We do this every weekend, over 131,000 subscribers and rising. We are not a little thing. Click that red subscribe button, click that yellow notification bell. Join us here every weekend as we disseminate the news from the only headquarters of the new black media and black information that you are going to receive here. And if you haven't been to our website, blackchannelfilms.com, it's time for you to get acquainted. It's time for you to get acquainted with the work that the lady was talking about earlier there, 7 a.m., Gentrified, Race War. We have a library of films there for you to check out, so go ahead and see those. Go to blackchannelfilms.com. That is blackchannelfilms.com. I want to thank everyone who has contributed to support tonight's program on either PayPal or Cash App. Thank you, Mr. Lagarde. And to everyone who has contributed to support it, we appreciate that as always. That always helps. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of The Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, black is the future, and the future is uncompromising.